when you're a visitor to a culture, there's a bunch of things that you don't see or you don't interpret correctly because they're just not within your reality paradigm. And so you can get a lot of stuff wrong. Curious? Stay tuned. Hi, it's Laura from Pan Society. Thank you for tuning in today. And what I'd like to talk about is how the spirit is silent. You could be talking about, what are you talking about, Laura? So, for example, I have a meetup group and it's called RVA Mind Body. And when it first started, a bunch of people asked me, well, why isn't it RVA Mind Body Spirit? Because it's holistic, and of course, the spirit is part of that. And my thinking is because spirit underlies everything. You don't have to call it out because it's everywhere. It would be redundant. It's kind of like going up and introducing myself and say, hi, I'm Laura Giles, a human female. Well, of course I'm a human female. You know that. So it's to pull out the spirit for somebody who's an animist. It's obvious. You just don't talk about it because it's always there. It's like breathing. Hey, I'm breathing. Oh, I'm still breathing. Oh, I'm still breathing. Yeah, we know. So why is this important? It's important because there's a bunch of things that you could miss if you're new to animism. So spirituality is a fad now, and a bunch of people go around talking about how awakened they are. Good. I hope we all are awakening. But what I see is that there are lots of people who follow what appears to be spiritual and they look like it on the outside. So they might engage in a practice, or they might wear certain clothes, or listen to certain music, or do certain things that have a spiritual label, but it's not really going more than skin deep because you need to have that foundation. So when Abraham Maslow created his hierarchy of needs, he started at the bottom, and the bottom talks about physiological needs. So how can I sustain my life? And then he talks about safety needs. So between those two, we've got things like air, water, clothing, shelter, those kind of things. Very, very basic. And one of the other things he talks about down there is emotional safety. And we have a lot of people who can't provide those things for themselves. I'm not knocking it. So it's not about judgment. I'm just saying, okay? So hear me out. So when you can't provide for your own food, your own shelter, and you can't regulate your own emotions, then going for those higher level needs like love and connection and self-actualization, spirituality, it's going to be tough because you're going to always have this other stuff that's really, really basic undermining you. So another way to look at it as your chakras. So a lot of people are into Ayurveda. We kind of as a culture are aware of this. And we talk about how these different chakras vibrate at a different rates. And lots of people spend a bunch of time working on opening their third eye. So what you end up with is somebody who's kind of shaped like an inverted triangle. So you got this gigantic third eye, and you got this little teeny tiny base for it to sit on. That's your foundation, your earthly foundation. We live here in our bodies. We need to nurture our bodies and support and live in and love our bodies. It's our bodies that allow us to have the human experience. When this body's gone, we're still going to be spirit. So we have to work from the bottom up. If you're working on this big third eye and you can't feed yourself, you're going to have a lot of trouble functioning. And so a bunch of these things that kind of go into this, it's invisible stuff. So what I'm talking about is building that foundation. So the physical foundation, your spiritual foundation. And if you go about it in a superficial way, you're going to burn out. You're going to go to the next thing. If you look at the history of what people have done since about the 60s, I guess, there's been a spiritual explosion since the 60s in Vietnam, and people went over to the East and brought back yoga and Buddhism and all of these things. And what I'm afraid is going to happen is that they're just going to be like, on to the next thing. That didn't work. I'm hearing that already. And I don't think we should throw out the baby with the bathwater. Animism is thousands of years old, and it has worked for many, 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 many people. And if it's not working, perhaps it's because you don't understand it. You've just kind of done the drive-by, you're doing the drive-by, and you kind of are not really sinking your teeth into it. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Look and learn about all the things that are silent. Because if you're looking at it from a superficial way, you're not going to know that. You're not going to know it until you experience it, till you talk to people, till you really practice it. It's not just about ideas, it's about feeling, it's about relationship. That's why connection is second. Sovereignty, that's you. How well do you take care of you? Your physical body, your emotional body, your spiritual body, all of that, so that you can connect to other people and then connect to the universe. Well, there's a whole web of things that make that possible. And if you don't experience it, you don't ask questions, you're never going to get there, and you're going to be a drive-by, which is okay. Everybody can do whatever works for them, but I'd hate for it to pass by without you ever really knowing what it was that you passed on. So, with that in mind, we are starting a mentoring program at pansociety.university.com. So we're going to have some classes over there, but mentoring too. So when you're doing your practices, when you're journaling, meditating, whatever it is you're doing your mood circles, and you need somebody to be like, hey, this happened, what's going on? Then you can ask questions. And you'll have somebody to help you who kind of has a little bit more foundation than you do, or hopefully a lot. Somebody that you can talk to, because it is lonely out there. If you're the only animist that you know, who are you going to talk to? You can talk to somebody else who doesn't know what's going on? Yeah, we all need a little help. We don't have these communities yet. Hopefully they're growing, and that's kind of what I wanted to kind of make you aware of, because it's real easy to not know what you don't know. So Maslow also did this wonderful thing of this hierarchy of learning, or the stages of learning, he calls it. And the first stage is not knowing what you don't know. So it's real easy to be ignorant and say a bunch of ignorant things because you just don't know. And we all do this, so I'm not calling anybody out. And the next stage of that is knowing that there is something to know, but not knowing what it is. Or knowing that there is something to do, but not knowing how to do it. So with a mentor, that can get you there. Or maybe you're already there and the mentor can get you to the next level, which is knowing what it is, knowing how to do it, but having to practice. So that's the stage before mastery. And then finally you get to knowing what's going on and knowing how to do it. And that's when you're just kind of living your life in that way. So there's never any end to study. We're always learning. We're always growing. But having a mentor, especially in the beginning, is super, super, super important. So ask us questions. We're here. You don't have to have a mentor relationship with us to ask us questions. We like show ideas. We like to help people out. So please ask us questions. You must have observations. You're like, I don't get this. So we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much for tuning in, and hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.